Imagine waking up in a hospital room and what you expected to be comfort from family was basically talk of you being a burden they said would be gone soon. My name is Eve. I spent 3 weeks lying in a stiff hospital bed with an IV in one arm and a monitor beeping beside my ear. I was supposed to be healing, but every day there chipped something off my spirit. It started with a fall in the kitchen. Just a quick moment where my knees gave out. Next thing I remember is waking up with a nurse asking if I knew what year it was. I did, but I almost wished I didn't. But let me rewind a bit. I raised my kids in a quiet little neighborhood and worked hard so I could give them a good life. Their dad never really played a part in their lives. Whatever he gave them was never sufficient enough for them to survive off. He contributed for a few years before he stopped altogether. It's been years since we heard from him. Last I heard, he was in Las Vegas, chasing casinos and women who had no interest in a slimy old man like him. So I raised my kids the best I knew how, working multiple jobs to make ends meet. I gave them all I could give to make them happy, but most times it never felt like it was good enough. As the years passed, they became distant. My eldest moved out, found a decent enough man, married, and had one child. My youngest was lazy and often blamed the world for her problems. She decided to live with me, said it was better than paying rent. I was happy for the most part, because I had company, but she wasn't there most of the times. Was busy partying with friends, crashing at their houses sometimes. And when she was at home, she didn't give me the time of day. Whenever I started a conversation, she'd cut me off and say she'd have to head out, that she had things to take care of. She was there, but not really. So now, while I was in the hospital, they came. The older one brought a charger and a small bag of clothes I hadn't worn since before the pandemic. The younger one looked more annoyed than concerned, flipping through her phone while the nurse checked my chart. They weren't cruel, just distant, like they were visiting an obligation, not a mother. Doctors ran tests, told me recovery would take time. I'd need rest, probably help at home once I got out. I nodded and thanked them, already thinking about how I'd fix it. I had plans to sort my expenses once I was home, tighten things up, made sure I repaid them for the medical expenses. On the 10th night, I was just coming out of sleep when I heard whispers. I recognized the voices to be my daughters, and wanting to hear what they had to say, I kept my eyes shut. The lights were low. I could hear them whispering. "She's barely talking some days," the younger one said. "We should be realistic. All these bills, they're going to run us dry." "She'll be gone soon anyway," she added, like she was reading off a grocery list. The other one didn't say anything right away, just sighed. But that told me enough. I kept my eyes closed, feeling like I'd slipped out of my body and was watching from the ceiling. My own daughters, planning my ending before I even had a chance to start again. I waited until the door clicked shut, then stared up at the ceiling, wondering what I'd do next. Tears pooled in my eyes. I stayed in the hospital for a week after. No one came during that time. It was like they decided to abandon me there, so they wouldn't have to deal with the stress of my care. When they discharged me, I had to call an Uber. No one was there to pick me up. That was when I decided I wouldn't just go back to recover. I got my affairs in order. I called the credit union, arranged some payments, cleaned up what I could. Then I made one last call to a realtor. The house was old, but solid, full of memories I used to believe meant something to all of us. But all that shifted the moment I heard those words in that dim hospital room. One day she came home and found me standing in the front yard with 2 realtors. I was holding blueprints and pointing at things. Her mouth dropped open. "What are you doing?" she asked, voice shaking. Selling the house? I said without turning around. She cried, begged, asked why I didn't talk to her first, said it was her home too, said she was just stressed and was busy at work. She spoke, not knowing all this was because of what she'd said, something she didn't know I'd heard. I told her I'd been stressed too, while raising her, while feeding her, while paying bills alone and giving up sleep so she could rest, doing her laundry, picking up after her even in adulthood. I told her I had finally listened to the silence she'd left between us for years. The deal closed in a week. I packed everything that mattered into a storage unit and bought a ticket to Florida. My best friend had been living down here for a while, always telling me I needed sun on my skin and freedom in my lungs. "Come on, Eve," she used to say. "Start living while you still can." So I did. I rent a little place now, about 5 minutes from her. A place where the windows stay open and I wake to birds instead of bills. We sit on her porch in the mornings, drinking coffee and laughing about silly things. I even picked up a part-time job at a bakery just to keep my hands busy. I never told them where I went. I didn't leave a note, no forwarding address. Let them figure it out. Let them feel, even for a moment, what it's like to be discarded by someone you counted on. Me? I'm just living. Not for them, not for approval, just for me. Because when someone shows you that your life is a burden to them, the best revenge is to carry it elsewhere. Lighter, brighter, and far, far away. Sometimes you even realize they were a burden to you too.